Thank you very much, Apostolos. Thank you for the opportunity. It's really a great honor and a pleasure to have this opportunity to have these discussions. From a couple of days ago, when we said to the whole team, just the discussions that we've already been having has been significant in terms of things that we can do going forward. The first time I ever spoke to Apostolos was on Monday, and it felt like I've known him all my life, or that I met him in person. We've been talking via Skype and so on. So it's really an honor to have met you and looking forward to many good things together. So I struggled to focus, and I wasn't sure exactly on which area to present on today. Is it the top one? Not the top one. Okay. And so the world is going through very challenging times, as we know. And one of the reasons is it's the fourth industrial revolution. People are losing their jobs because of technology, and this is causing a lot of tension. Add to that the refugee crisis, and it exasperates everything. 50% of the jobs that are going to exist in 10 years' time don't exist today, just to highlight the tension that currently exists. The upside to it is that technology is going to bring services such as healthcare and education a lot cheaper, so we're not going to need to earn as much money. We can speak to Sophie and ask her to diagnose us. We can ask Sophie to teach us. Sophie is the robot that's just become a citizen in Saudi Arabia. So, as Apostolos mentioned, we want to position Lesvos as a global humanitarian tech hub. We strongly believe that we can turn the crisis into an opportunity to accelerate the sustainable development goals and stimulate local economic development. The whole world has tried to develop tech solutions. For the last 2.5 years, people in Silicon Valley, New York, London, Singapore, around the world are trying to develop tech. Hardly anyone has succeeded. And the main reason for that is because they're not sitting where the users are. They can't get market access. So people are sitting having hackathons, incubation programs, acceleration programs, and nothing happens. People come together for a weekend, for 4 days, for a week, for a month, and there's no impact. What we need to be doing, the people that know what the problems are the refugees. They're highly skilled, highly talented people. Just because they've been stamped as a refugee, people think that the skills have disappeared. And on top of it, there's no better education than experience. So if you're a refugee, you know what the needs are. So we need to do a couple of things. We need to create a platform where we invite international people to come to Lesvos, as we had the previous presentation speaking about the volunteers that have come here, to come and work with the locals, first and foremost, to work with refugees so we can co-create these sustainable solutions. And so that we design these with the refugees and look to accelerate them with all the international NGOs. So Lesvos will be a place where you test, pilot, and implement these solutions, and we look to accelerate them. So how do we do this? We launched ChangeMakers Lab. As I mentioned, our vision is to establish best practices on the island and then look to accelerate them to places like Geneva. Geneva, as an example, all the global human NGOs are sitting there, but there's nothing on the ground. So how do we build these links between cities, between countries, of where we can be testing solutions, accelerate them as an example to Geneva, and from Geneva through their networks globally. But let's get solutions that actually work. So ChangeMakers Lab's mission, and as many people have mentioned here, is to create an enabling environment where social entrepreneurs and key stakeholders can co-create social impactful tech solutions that contribute to solving humanitarian challenges and stimulating local economic development across Europe. Obama came to Greece about 1.5 years ago, and he said, it's people that make difference. And it's you and us together, that we can create the solutions that are so desperately needed. And on this diagram over here, it shows what ChangeMakers Lab is doing. We want to be bringing diverse stakeholders together as what this is doing, what Lesvos Dialogues is doing. And that's why I'm so excited to be having all the diverse people here together here today. These are some of the things that we did, and I was going to touch on it. This was 2016. So we had a startup boat in Samos, where we had people from McKinsey's, Facebook, about 22 young people coming together to build tech solutions over 3 days. But what we recognized, it wasn't about the tech. The most impactful thing we did over the 4 days was on the last day, when the mayor walked in the streets of Samos from the main town square to the Port Authority with 70 people following him, carrying water, bread, and fruit, handing it out to the refugees. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be creating platforms where we're connecting with people. It's not about the technology. Technology is just the enabler. We really need to get people to see the other side and remove the fear. I'm just going to quickly run. So last year on Europe Day, we had an event here, and there were almost no locals. Then we did a startup weekend last year, October, so we can co-create these solutions. We're hoping to have 70 locals and 15 refugees. We ended up having 25 refugees and 10 locals. And from that day, we realized, well, if we're not going to get the locals, we're not going anywhere. And been blessed to have met guys from a team called IDEA, a group of volunteers that do incredible things. They're all volunteers and want to create a better future for this island. And they, in fact, organized TEDx Lesvos. And one of the highlights of last year for me was right here in this venue when TEDx was taking place and there was a break. They did not mention anything about refugees because of the concern of how locals are going to react, and they named it First Steps. And during one of the breaks of the speakers, we had about 10 refugees come up here on the stage and dance Greek. I cannot express to you the feeling and everyone felt of, and the round of applause that people gave seeing this. It was an incredible realization that the perceptions versus the reality are completely different. It was truly inspiring, which brings us to the next slide on integration, which is our 2017 year. So this year, we developed strategic partnerships with diverse stakeholders. We worked closely with the municipality. The most undoubtedly the best collaboration was with the University of the Aegean, and specifically Ms. Maria Gatziontoniou, who's sitting there. She was absolutely incredible in some of the initiatives that I'm going to quickly run through. We ran an incubation program from February to May. We ran a 4-day social entrepreneurship workshop, and we also had a summit again this year. So from the incubation program, on that day, well, this was the second day actually, but so we worked with the students for the first month. After a month, of 25 students, we brought 1 refugee. You met Jalal. It was an extremely nervous day because we did not know how the students are going to react. And this person that came and spoke, as he spoke to youth and spoke to students, the perceptions, you could literally see the mind shifts change. And because of the positive reaction we had, the following week we brought 4 refugees, and the students started engaging and started speaking to the refugees and realizing that there isn't a difference. We then had a workshop where we brought people from around the world to co-create the solutions to discuss on how we can take these things forward. We worked on 7 projects during this incubation program in partnership, and during the ChangeMakers Summit, the students with refugees sat on the stage presenting the ideas, and the feedback that we got was incredible. We had some investors, impact investors, that were already interested. So from a pilot project, we already got solutions that people wanted to invest in. And one of the solutions we had agreed to send to CERN. So we took a solution from Lesvos to take to CERN. Before I go to CERN, I just want to talk about the panelists here just quickly. So we had Boris of UNHCR that came and spoke about how we can work together. Daniel Dobos, who's in Geneva's ecosystem, one of the people at the forefront of innovation across the whole Geneva. We had Ting Singh, who's got a case management solution. She's come here 2 years, last year in May, this year, on case management on mHealth, developed at MIT, and it's in the market 8 years already in 18 countries. Rian Conradi, who's the CEO of LifeQ, a company that's 7 years old, that's literally changing the world in terms of healthcare. So what we're saying is the people have already come. Lesvos is a global brand. How do we bring people here and co-create these solutions through design thinking workshops? So as I was saying, we at the ChangeMakers Summit, we presented 7 other solutions, and the top one we took to Geneva. at CERN. And I just want to add one more thing quickly. I'm diversing quickly, but that bird is pretty significant. It was made up there, and it was made with local kids, refugee kids, and handicapped kids. And it's now sitting at CERN. And the reason that it's at CERN is because CERN brings diverse people from around the world together for a common purpose. And what our ask is to bring people from around the world here together so we can co-create solutions for the future. So back to CERN, we worked there with 10 people from around the world over 4 days. And when we presented at the event, the solution that Ms. Khadjandoniou is going to speak about received the best feedback from the whole panel of the Global Humanitarian Lab, Terre des Hommes, and other top people there. And that's where the team presented. We had 4 students from the university who worked with refugees to present, and the solution is trash to treasure, and it's establishing best practice. It's an opportunity. We want to establish a sustainable green camp as a solution for the world, from Lesvos to the world. And there's a lot of interest in it, and we are going to manage to do it, and together we most certainly can. We also had the founder of Impact Hub. There's 102 of them around the world who's come to Lesvos, again, interested in positioning Lesvos as a global humanitarian hub, as you people are here together working and believing that we can do that. I'm almost finished. SAP, the director of SAP's corporate social responsibility, came and we had the opening ceremony here. More importantly, we trained over 160 local people in basic skills over here during the Train the Trainer course. And again, that was an opportunity where locals worked with refugees to train them. And during the Refugee Code Week, we had 150 refugees that were trained and hungry to learn. Digital skills is the new world on digital nomads. So our next steps that we want to do is a co-working space, or rather community center, platform, call what it is, whatever it is, where people can come together. Volunteers from around the world who want to work on tech, where they want to volunteer, where they want to work from here. The future of the world, in terms of digital nomads, people can go anywhere in the world and just work from an internet cafe. And there is no better place in the world than a Mediterranean Greek island, and especially a place where you can actually change the world and have impact. And this is what we're saying we want to create here on Lesvos. And we want to have a design thinking workshop on focusing on accelerating and implementing ML solutions. And through the summit on Europe Day, we want to send a message to the world of solidarity and showing how we can together affect positive change. So, as all of you, I stand with refugees. And this here was a day where we went to the camp where students and some local people, we went and had dinner. Imad, who spoke earlier, as part of Movement on the Ground, where they have the kitchen there. We went into one of the homes and we were welcomed there to have a dinner. And I won't forget Ferniki, who's sitting on the end there, where she said, "This feels like I'm sitting in my mother's home," because it was a warm environment, decorated beautifully. Amir, who's now left, and I consider a good friend, he made half of the furniture in there, a great musician. Imad and his wife cook on a regular basis for over 800 people, yet these people can't work. What would you do if you cannot work and you've got the skills and you're stuck in a place for over a year and a half? Imad's wife's pregnant, she's going to have a baby. Who's going to look after him if we don't create those opportunities for them? So I know I'm preaching to the converted, but I just, yeah. And this is the team that we work together, saying we want to create a leading global sustainable camp. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm really looking forward to continuing working with you guys. Thank you very much, Apostolos.